Welcome everyone, my name is Omar, and today's video, I'll show you how you can use cardboard boxes like this to make this ARC Trooper helmet. Let's jump straight into the video. These are all the templates you'll need. Trace them on cardboard and then cut them all out. We will first start off with the faceplate. I start by curving it and taping it around the dome circle. Once secure, I glue it in place. Now we will turn it around and add these two parts. Curve and glue them to the back of the dome circle. Both should connect. Once that's put together, cut out the inside of the dome circle. Now we will make the dome with these strips. Add a little extra length to each strip end, just in case it runs short. You'll start off by gluing the first strip around the inside of the cutout, and then continue with the rest from there. After building the dome, cover the top with this circular shape. With the dome done, now comes the ARC Trooper fin. You're gonna want to score these two lines with an X-Acto knife so that they fold down. With the fin built, place it onto the dome as shown and mark it down with a pen. This is what you'll have to cut out. Then glue the fin over the cutout. As you've probably noticed, there's this detail I haven't showed you how to make yet. This is because I had a hard time building the rest of the helmet when I did, so to spare you all from the trouble, we will hold off on making that for now until we get to this point. Continuing where we left off, we will add the detail strips to the fin. These subtle pieces really make a big difference. Now we will construct the ear and side helmet details. Here are multiple pictures of me gluing on each piece. With everything finally glued on, this is how it should look. Repeat this for the other side as well. Let's get started on this part. It makes up most of the helmet. Start by pressing it into shape and glue all of the folds together. After gluing all the folds and pressing it into shape, it should have a curved look just like this. You're going to want two of these for the next step. You're going to glue this part along the side helmet details just like this. And remember that this part shouldn't be made or cut out for you yet. With the back of the helmet now being built, I can finally show you how to make this detail. You're going to use this detail template to trace it around the dome as shown. Make sure the template matches with the lines on the faceplate. Tape it onto the dome like this and trace it around. This is what we'll have to cut out. After cutting that out, you'll want to make these two parts. Leave a little extra around them when you cut them out so that they have something to glue onto when you glue them into the inside of the helmet. When you glue them to the inside of the helmet, make sure both of the parts evenly line up with the middle seam of the helmet. Next, we will add the bottom helmet lip detail. This first part is to give it its curved shape. This second piece will be glued alongside the curved part. This is how it should end up looking. At the back of the helmet, cut out these two spots and glue some cardboard behind the smaller one. Cut out these two pieces and glue them in the back of the helmet like this. The final piece of the back is this button piece. You will need to glue the curved pieces around the circle, then add the details on top of it. Then glue it into place. We will finally start on making the chin of the helmet. I start with these parts. I used thin cereal box cardboard to make these. I used super glue to make it easier for me to put these parts together. Here's a closer look at how it should look. Now I'll add the chin plate and mouthpiece. With ARC Trooper chin plates, they should be two flat parts that meet together into a sharp corner. The mouthpieces should leave a sharp middle section like the chin as well. We will now add the most important part of the chin, which is the cheek tubes. Curve all of the flaps by pressing them into shape. After that, tape all of the flaps together until your part becomes round. Then, glue all the flaps together from the inside, and when it dries, remove all of the tape. With the cheek tubes built, now we will make the mic tip holes. Now I'll show you how to put all these pieces together. First, we will attach the cheek tube to the chin plate. Next, glue together both ends of the cheek tube. Then, we will cut out and glue the bottom chin piece. This will keep both chin tube pieces together. Lastly, glue in the mic tip hole inside of the cheek tube. Repeat the entire process for the other cheek tube. Now it's time to attach the chin piece to the rest of the helmet. I added these extra parts to make it easier to glue onto, but if you want to use them as well, don't worry, they should be already included in the updated templates. But right before I start gluing, I cut out a small section of the visor so I can glue in the middle tooth. Start by gluing the teeth onto the faceplate, then the cheek tubes onto the extra cardboard we added to the sides. With the helmet fully built, proceed with cutting out the visor. You don't have to do this part, but if the helmet doesn't fit, I made a template for you to use to cut out some material to make your head fit in. For my helmet, I felt the faceplate looked a bit too plain, so I made these parts to give it a meaner look and more definition. As you can see, it makes a big difference and in my opinion, an improvement as well. Let's go ahead and make the rangefinder. These are all the parts you'll need. These sets of parts will be the ones that carry the rangefinder itself. Glue the circle with the cut slot on top of this circle. Then, glue the other two on top of the one with the slot. After that, glue the circle with the large cutout on top. This next set is for the magnet that will connect to the rangefinder. Glue the circle with the small cutout on top of this one, then glue the rest on top. Now that we built these, we can glue this one inside the helmet. For the other one, we will need to use a small wooden skewer and cut it to 9 inches, then glue it inside of the slot. This is me test fitting it and seeing if it rotates well. Now we will build the actual rangefinder with these parts. I carefully score with an X-Acto knife all the spots that we will fold. After building it, flip it over and glue this part under it. Cut out 4 of these and glue them together, then glue it to the back of the rangefinder. Make a small hole under the rangefinder, fill it with glue, and slide in the antenna into it. This should complete the rangefinder. At last, we have finished building this monster. From here on out, it's going to be resining, sanding, spackling, and even more sanding. I used 2 parts epoxy resin with parts A and B. I filled 2 cups with equal parts and mixed them together in one. After mixing thoroughly, you can start by brushing it on using a disposable sponge brush. I gave the whole helmet 4 coats in total of resin, 2 in the inside and 2 in the outside. I left it outside to dry for 24 hours. Once the resin has fully cured, I sand the whole helmet using 150 grit sandpaper, just enough to remove the gloss of the resin. This allows the spackle wheel used to stick onto it. Sand down any sharp points or resin droplets if needed as well. After sanding the resin, I start covering the whole helmet with wall spackle, especially over the parts that need more filling. I use water to smooth it down and for easier application. This is the specific one I use. It's pink when fresh and turns white when dry. This is how it should look like after applying the spackle and allowing it to dry. It will be pretty rough and bumpy after drying, so we will need to sand it all down smooth using 220 grit sandpaper. Now that I've sanded the helmet with 22 grit, I go back and put more spackle on all the deep spots the helmet may still have. You can repeat this process until you feel satisfied with the filling and smoothing of the helmet's surface. With the smoothing and sanding done, I move on to the filler primer. I go ahead and spray the entire helmet with the filler primer, giving generous coats everywhere, especially the areas that may still have scratches or holes. I used 2 cans in total for the whole helmet. After spraying and letting it dry, I gently sand the filler primer with 400 grit, then move on to 600 grit to give it a smooth finish. Remember to do all these steps for the rangefinder too. With the helmet primed, I begin to paint it with white acrylic paint. However, I recommend using Rust-Oleum white gloss spray paint since it looks way better and offers more coverage with way less coats. I brush on 1 coat of paint and wait for it to dry to the touch to paint on another one. I repeat this step until there is even coverage everywhere. After the white paint, I begin to paint the gray areas of the helmet, like the teeth and the back headband, with silver acrylic paint, masking off the areas around them and carefully painting them with a fine brush. For the ARC Trooper fin on top, I wanted to go all out, so I left this small opening in the design so I can install a red LED light. For that, I used a small white piece of foam sponge and a red tinted square of face shield. I insert the sponge piece into the opening, then with super glue, stick the small red tinted piece of face shield over it. For the light itself, I used this small LED light set I got from Dollar Tree and glued it inside of the helmet, and positioned all the LED lights towards the opening. After turning the switch to on, this is how it looks. Going back to the rangefinder, after making it look nice, I painted the whole thing black and glued magnets to the slots in the helmet and the rangefinder. As you can see, it's able to be fully turned. To cover this back opening, I cut out a piece of corrugated rubber sheet and glued it in place. For the signature black headband that goes around the head, I used thin insulation foam tape with an adhesive side. I cut it to the right length I needed and sticked it on. For the chin piece and mic tips, I used thin white EVA foam and I cut them out using the templates I made. I gave them a few coats of metallic black steel for the final touch, and lastly, I glued them in place using super glue. For the final touch of the helmet, we will need a visor. I reused some dark green face shield I had and traced the visor template over it, cutting it out and removing the protective film. Then all you have to do is push it in place and glue it down. Now, let's move on to the end of the video. I always strive to improve the quality of each helmet I make, especially for this ARC Trooper helmet, which took me a lot of trial and error to make it look this good. But it was all well worth it in the end. And now you can make it too. My templates for this helmet can be found in my Etsy store, which I will leave a link to in the description below. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all again in my next video where I will make another iconic helmet from the Star Wars universe. This is Buckethead Creations, signing off.